So I buy all my music gear used for a variety of reasons. One, it's way cheaper. I have a habit for acquiring a lot of gear, so I kind of need it to be cheaper. Number two, I think it's more ethical. There's so much crap that gets produced and thrown away every single day that I might as well just buy something that somebody else already has. I've talked about my lovely piano before. It's from the 1920s. Before it was mine, it was passed down in the same family for multiple generations through multiple different studios, and through the wonder of Facebook Marketplace, it was passed down to me, and over the next couple years, I'm going to put some money into it and restore it and get rid of some of the creaks and rattles. And sometimes with certain pieces of gear, I don't know the story. I traded in my childhood Wii to get this bass amp. It's a Standal Studio from about 1968, 1970 era, and it sounds great. I should have paid way more than a used Wii. So I may not know the backstory of this amp, considering it was made 30 years before I was even born, but it kind of marks a passing from childhood to being more serious about music for me. This organ is from a film professor at my college, and this organ's from a church of a friend who needed to get it gone. Once again, I don't really know its story before me, but wrangling this into a truck with 3 of my friends, it's a good memory, for me at least. I don't know if it was for them. The rack mount that everything's in used to be for a band that stopped touring and kind of retired and gave it up. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but I kind of see it as a passing of the torch. To me, this thing's built like a tank, and I'll probably use it for the rest of my life. And this guy that sits on it, it's an old analog console from the early 2000s. An NPR office sold it to me for like $100. It used to be worth thousands, but it suits my needs perfectly, and it's one less thing to get thrown in the trash. You can call me a nerd for this, but as many stories as I put in my music, each instrument is part of that story. And yeah, some things are pretty generic. You can find them in every studio. A 58 for crying out loud. But certain things like that bass amp, like that piano, not many other people have things exactly like that with those stories behind it. It might be all in my head, but if I sit down at a new piano, there is nowhere near as much inspiration as I get from this thing. And it doesn't even sound good. Who knows what the moral of the story is? Buy imperfect gear, make good music. That's about all I got.